Tom, I don't know. Are you a Catholic? I don't know that. Are you?
I am Catholic.
Okay.
My old joke with Pope Francis was I was more Catholic than the Pope.
I was not raised in the Catholic tradition. I have a lot of love for the early Christian church, the iconography of it, a lot of deep respect. But as somebody who's not a practicing Catholic, I just wanted to get your take, perhaps, off the top here on the Pope's funeral, President Trump using it as almost like a world leaders summit, which I think is incredible, bringing peace maybe in Ukraine, using the Pope's funeral to do that, which is awesome. And then Joe Biden's weird obscurity there.
Fundamentally, non-Catholics may not remember this or realize this. The Pope is a priest. And so this is a mass in celebration of a priest and his life. And I didn't agree with him on a lot of things. I think he confused the faithful, which is terrible. But obviously had the respect of many in the world. And to have his funeral result in peace efforts, that speaks well of, divine intervention and those who recognize the moment and trying to take advantage of it, meaning Zelensky and President Trump.
Yes. Was this like an unnecessary L for Joe Biden? Again, if we could just pop up, Joe Biden did nearly fall. I think they had to make up some hoax about Donald Trump's blue suit when about a quarter of the people there were wearing blue suits to cover up for this, because this was just embarrassing, man.
Joe's an unpleasant guy, and he's not going to be cowed. And anyone who thinks that because of his evident cognitive disability, he should be given a free pass, this is another indication he doesn't care what you all think. He's going to do what he wants to do because he thinks he's untouchable. And I think he should still be prosecuted by the Trump administration for his at least mishandling of the documents that he stole from the Senate. He got a free pass there from the the Biden regime, and all those pardons and all of them are, in my view, null and void. I call them the empty set pardons, and the prosecution should proceed as if they're invalid.
Wow. And make them challenge that at where? Like the Supreme Court? I mean, I guess you'd have to find a...
use it as a defense. In researching the issue, it looks like a pardon could only really come into effect when the verdict is read, meaning you can be found guilty, but there would be no punishment.
So, yeah, why not challenge it? Why not push that? Why not just drop a prosecution on Dr. Fauci, right?
Yeah.
Or Joe Biden.
Or Adam Schiff or Milley or Fauci. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Mark Milley. That's exactly right, dude. You told the Chinese what we were going to do during a moment with heightened military security. You were literally ratting out the American military to the Chinese. You're a traitor, dude. You're going to go to Gitmo.
Joe didn't tell us what the pardons were for, so how can we not proceed?
That's such a great point. Wow. We're going to start pushing that, Tom. Thank you for that. Maybe, Tom, you can help us out with this one. They're locking up people for harboring criminal aliens. Why not charge Joe with harboring 11 million criminal aliens? I mean, didn't he do that?
It depends on the analysis of his job as president. Was it part of his duties and responsibilities or the failures? Probably not. Certainly Mayorkas can be charged, in my view, or should be investigated. Everyone who helped Biden allow this invasion of the United States, I think, should be seriously investigated for their roles in undermining and really contravening the rule of law.
It does make a lot. It does kind of, when you realize how deep and how dark this entire rabbit hole is. We put up the photos of all the judges in handcuffs here, please. I mean, I'm glad to be able to put up some photos of powerful Democrats in handcuffs. I'm sure this was a relief to you as well, Tom. Wanted to get your take on this. Pretty wild when you listen to the stories here. They were treating these criminal aliens and gangbangers like their own children. They were doing everything they could to have them live with them, have them use their own judges' quarters, human smuggle them out of the courthouse. It's insane when you hear what these judges did.
Yeah, that Wisconsin judge is really something else. And what she did was so contrary to judicial ethics. Read about the rule of law. It's just as a judge. I'm a commissioner on a judicial ethics commission here in Washington, D.C. The president appointed me. And I'm aghast at what happened there. And the Wisconsin state authorities need to take a look at what she did there. And not only did she place the federal law enforcement at risk, but remember, he is a violent person. He was alleged to have engaged in essentially murderous conduct. He nearly killed two people, according to what he was charged with, and nearly beat them to death. And this woman helps him evade capture from federal authorities.
It defies explanation, other than you should be serving long prison sentences, because this is what happens when you do that, right?
And the governor of Wisconsin, all of these politicians of the left, all endorse this lawlessness. Whose side are they on? They're not on the side of Americans. They're not on the side of the rule of law. And you have another judge in Wisconsin talking about keeping people in jail so they won't be deported. It's people have lost their minds with this anti-Trump animus. And if it means the country collapses, they don't care. And if it means people get harmed and hurt and killed, they seemingly don't care either.
It does bend itself, and I know Stephen Miller's talked a lot about this, and there's been a lot of viral posts on this, but it really does set the table pretty crisp and clear, Tom. We don't have a country, right? If one administration can bring in 20 million criminal aliens to the country, and the next administration can do nothing about it, then your country's over. It's cooked. I'm not a doomer, but I am somebody who says, well, that's not going to work. Unless there's mass deportations, the country's over.
And they really need to get to the mass deportations. I think my impression is the Trump administration's operating at capacity, but the judges are getting in the way. Local state authorities are getting in the way. And when you think about the numbers, let's say it's 10 million. I remember doing the calculation, so forgive me if it's off since then, but 5,000 or 6,000 people a day need to be deported just to remove the Biden invaders alone. And if those folks are not deported, the country is changed politically necessarily, because they get counted unless the law changes or President Trump changes the counting. They get counted for purposes of the census, and it means that blue states benefit, get to keep and increase power in Congress, and get more votes in the Electoral College system. And so this is why the left is desperate. It's not even about them voting. Their mere presence increases the political power of the left.
And I don't think the Trump administration is anywhere near those numbers.
No, and they need the help of Congress to get near those numbers. The 800 over 4 days in Florida, that was a massive operation. They're going to have to deploy the military, I think, more fulsomely here in the interior to get these folks rounded up and removed as the law requires. And we're going to have to figure out a way to have local law enforcement provide more support so this can get done. But in the meantime, it's going to be, if the left gets their way, decades, because they want each of these people to go through a court process that's the equivalent of the O.J. Simpson trial every time the President Trump wants to deport someone.
So they're deploying this operation. This is like the new Russiagate. So they had a ace in the hole, right? They had a black card in the pocket if President Trump won the first time, and that was the Steele dossier and Russiagate. And this seems to be their ace in the hole. This seems to be like what the plan was. We're just going to prevent Trump from engaging in the executive powers altogether. It's not just this. It's pretty much every executive order is now being stopped by a judge. You can't have a president, right? I mean, there is no president if a judge can just do that to every single breath Trump takes.
And that was their view when he was president the first time around. He can't fire FBI directors. He can't engage in foreign policy. He can't do the things that presidents typically are able to do. And the great thing about the new Trump administration, is he's doing so much more than he tried to do the first time around. So the positive is he's doing so much more. The negative is the courts are interfering so much more in what I believe to be a coup against the Constitution, where judges are inserting themselves and taking power the Constitution doesn't allow them to have.
So inserting yourself into a controversial issue here, Tom, is Judicial Watch's suing of, I think, the Trump administration, or at least like the FOIA request for all of Epstein's documents. We have the posts up here, and this is something that is
what's controversial about that?
It's speaking our love language. I was just about to say this is speaking our love language. Like you have to sometimes you have to motivate your friends to do the right thing. Judicial
so there was this issue of the documents getting released in February and some controversy around that, and both the Attorney General and Cash Bondi, right? I'm completing the two. Cash Bondi. So the team highlighted how the FBI or someone up in New York in whatever office interfered with that document release. Yeah. So we wanted documents about what happened there, and plus we want all the Epstein records. And we've been getting the hand to the face. No response. And we do what we do. We sue for the records. And let me put it this way. The best way to release records of a controversial nature, in my view, is through FOIA, because it allows the people to see what documents are being withheld and why. You know what the redactions are about. If court process in place, there's accountability as to the timeliness of what's going to be released, if it's going to be released at all. Who did the searching? Where did they look? What other documents are out there? All of those questions should be asked and answered with these document releases, and that's what we aim to do with Epstein. And I don't want to just get the files of of those who were involved with him. I also want to know how he died, the circumstances of that, the cover up of it, all sorts of things going back. And I'm hoping we start getting some answers, and we get a process going that reassures the American people that the truth and accountability is being taken seriously.
So you're not getting anything yet?
No, I don't think we've gotten a document yet. I mean, we sued 2 weeks ago, and we asked back in February. We still haven't gotten anything. So, now, on the other hand, the Justice Department is releasing some other documents, which are good. But if I were advising Pam Bondi, and I'm not, because I'm not in the Justice Department, I would have her team hyper focus on FOIA and transparency, so that there's a process in place that she doesn't have to get personally involved in to ensure that document requests about the current crisis, right, whether it be the lawfare against Trump, the Epstein, you name it, Fauci, whatever the issues, the Biden gang, that is just handled forthwith and released as quickly as possible.
I know I'm going to ask you to speculate here, Tom, but you've been doing this business for a very long time. You're famous for for Bill Clinton's taking a UV light to Bill Clinton's sock drawer. Very dangerous work you've done in your time, and so you know the sleaze bags better than most. Why? Why does it take so long with these Epstein documents? Get your thoughts on what the actual op was there. What's the holdup?
Well, first, there might be a lot. There's always a process that they tell the politicals they have to go through in order to release the documents. And there's always excuses and reasons to withhold information. I tell you what's not holding it up: prosecutions. That's not interfering with this process. It's easy for them to tell us we can't confirm or deny their documents, or to release certain documents that are going to interfere with potential or ongoing criminal investigations. That's not an issue here. What it is an issue here is the inability of government to follow FOIA law, and I think hopefully our lawsuit will get the leadership of the Justice Department and the FBI to focus on it. I mean, the day we filed the lawsuit, someone for the Justice Department, one of their FOIA officials, sent us a letter saying, "Oh, by the way, the Attorney General's office has no records about the request you asked." But we asked for records about her communications about this whole issue. And, there's got to be records. So I don't know what's happening over there, but it's a challenge. I understand it's a challenge. But they got to send the documents over. The public are interested in it. I can't help it. The public wants to know this info.
Tom, you've been on the show so many times. The viewers love you. They know you spit real fire. This ain't going away. You're a realist, okay? This isn't going away. Virginia Roberts died by suicide this weekend.
That's
Got
right.
It. She's of course somebody who witnessed Clinton, the royal family. She got huge payouts. She was so real that they were paying her tens of millions of dollars from the royal treasury in England because of what happened with her and Prince Andrew. And she just like, after being hit by a bus in the middle of nowhere, Australia, she then dies by suicide. Man, like this is the kind of stuff that makes people go, what is happening here?
No, we filed a lawsuit. She dies by suicide. And because people are concerned that documents are being withheld, people think there's a connection between the two. And I don't necessarily believe there is, but it highlights the urgency of getting these documents released. When you don't release information and hide information, especially contrary to law, I mean, we're suing because the Justice Department wasn't following FOIA law. People can draw their own conclusions about why those records are being withheld. We all went through the reasons, right? And I told you why maybe, but I don't know that for sure. It could be corruption. It could be someone in the Justice Department, a deep stater, is stopping it all from coming out by making up fake reasons for withholding it. It could be that they don't want to release it for other reasons that are political. I don't know. But all I know is there's a process in place, and they're going to have to follow it because the court's going to ask them what's happening eventually.
Tom, just very briefly here, we have San Anatar coming on right after you. He's the investigator behind Letitia James and all of the crisis that she's under right now. I'm sure that you've looked at it all. Just wanted to get quickly your take on Letitia. Is she boiling in hot water here, man?
You know, she says she has documents that contradict the analysis of the federal agency that referred her for criminal prosecution. Well, she should tell that to the judge and to a jury. But in my view, this is the beginning, ought to be the beginning of serious criminal investigations into the abusers of Trump. And that's something, again, I will encourage the Trump administration, the Justice Department to spend more time and energy on, which is to focus on those people who tried to destroy our country, not 10 years ago, not 20 years ago, but last year by trying to jail Trump and other innocent Americans. And the American people want them held accountable to the full extent of the law. And I'm not seeing any indication there's a serious criminal investigation going on into that mega scandal.
Yeah, I mean, great. You know, the JFK stuff, all that evidence is gone. All those people are dead. Like, let's go after some crimes that we all witnessed, like just a couple of months ago. Everything from the Trump assassination to the people trying to put Trump in prison. The assassination of Trump in many different ways. Let's go after those people, please. Yeah. Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch is the man who actually does it, right? A lot of people come on here and yap. Tom actually puts action behind it. That's why you got to follow Tom, man. He's got 3.1 million subscribers here on X. Get on in there. Tom is one of the absolute brawlers in Washington, D.C. My producer, my in-studio producer here, his name's Klein. He does jujitsu. He says he thinks you could scrap. He thinks he was looking through the profiles like, all right, you know,
all right. As long as he stays away from my face.
Yeah, don't know if you spar or not, Tom. Nobody knows. Do you? I'm not sure.
Oh man,
you spar? You grapple,
not
Tom?
with all those young guys. No way.
Okay. UFC fan, Tom? I don't know. Everybody follow Tom.
Oh man.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Tom. Godspeed.
Thank you.